Hey everybody, Conscious Medium Brandon Russ. Hope you're doing well today. You know I can't leave off of this hot political thing. It's hot politicals. I'll just make up words as I go along because I'm not excited about it. The Dominion settlement with Rupert Murdoch and Fox News, whatever the fuck it's called this week. The entertainment station known as Fox, entertaining the masses. Did Rupert Murdoch take this plea deal just in time? Astrologically, I'm about to make the assumption that yes, he did. He might not necessarily have astrologers on hand. He might not believe in any of this, but I'm here to tell you then it's just dumb luck that he absolutely escaped sheer demise with the settlement. On the next Stream of Consciousness, we're going to take a look at Rupert Murdoch's escape from responsibility. There's the right channel. Hey, everybody. Sorry about that. I hope you really enjoyed my montage beginning. Conscious Medium Brandon Russ here. And let's do a little bit of a recap here. So Fox News was propagating flat-out lies. And when they started to peel back the layers, when they accused the Dominion voting booths to be, well, less than satisfactory to the standards of the United States, they were trying to plant the seed that maybe the election was stolen in 2020. Where maybe Joe Biden didn't get all the votes that they said that he did. They had everything from a scheme to put in fake electors to come in and vote for Trump when it was really a Biden-won territory, to actually accusing machines of being corrupt and changing votes when they were put in there. Well, after some deeper dive look at it, Rupert Murdoch's Fox Newscast team, primarily made up of the likes of, say, I don't know, Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, and Sean Hannity, to name a few, were all at the rabid behest of Murdoch and the lie that is the Dominion voting machines. Now, they discovered text, communications, internal memos, emails, the whole nine yards. So much so that the lawyers for Dominion were ready to move forward with a case when all of a sudden Rupert Murdoch gave up and said, "How much do you want?" The settlement number was $787.5, which is a 9, everybody. He wanted this to just go away. And how much of this was part of the Fox Rupert Murdoch billionaire lexicon? Well, he's got about $4 billion in savings just sitting there. So this, in the scheme of things, was kind of a drop in the well. Why would he do such a thing? Well, first of all, the credibility of Fox News is shot. Anybody that calls Fox News actual news now is just selling you something in the propaganda that they wanted to believe in. Now, it's all great to have wonderful channels and stories and, shows that you watch. I mean, Lord knows Honey Boo Boo became something here in the country because it was at least on some level entertaining. Whether you talk about Tiger King, whether you talk about the, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or whatever, Kardashians, whatever it is that you want to do, that was the marketplace that Fox treated this as. It was not Walter Cronkite. Do not mistaken what Fox News has done over the last 7 years, 12 years, as actual news. It is a propaganda machine. They admitted it. Don't take my word for it. Listen to the transcripts of all of the pretrial. When they were in front of a grand jury, they had no problem actually sitting there and saying, and I quote from Rupert Murdoch, "It is not about red or about blue, it is about green." Rupert Murdoch literally avoided a freight train that was going to run right through the center of his life with this settlement. Right before a solar eclipse, right before Mercury goes retrograde, oh, by the way, in Taurus, where your money gets right-sized. So if you're a little down, you're going to come up. If you're a little up, you might come down. Calm down, everybody. Rupert Murdoch just wrote a check for $787.5 million. And by the way, did Dominion give away the farm? Probably. Could they have gotten more? I kind of think they could have. Even though they'd originally asked for something like $1.6 billion, which, by the way, was something like 240% or higher than, or 200 times more than what their actual $10 million company was worth. What I can tell you is that justice really wasn't served. What I can tell you is that this guy ran rickshaw and just wrote a check for bad behavior. He was not actually held accountable, although writing a $780 million check is somewhat accountability, right? I want to show you this chart because let me tell you something. There's some interesting stuff going on here. Now, on the inside is Rupert Murdoch. Born in 1931 in Melbourne, Australia. Oh, did I mention he's not even American? I think he's a naturalized citizen now at this point, but probably at the behest of whoever he was serving. And by the way, I'm looking off to the side here because I'm trying out a new setup here. Hope you guys enjoy it. But taking a look at his chart on the inside, heavy action here in the fourth house. He has Mercury and the Sun in conjunct in Pisces. But he has Uranus and the North Node there in Aries, which kind of works for and against him all at the same time. He's also somebody that's going to try and get away with stuff. How do we know this? Because it's sitting in the fourth house and he has no problem hiding behind it. Now, he may have a high intuition, but will he use it correctly? Well, his eighth house having Mars in Cancer tells us no. By the way, he has the natural intuitiveness of being his psychic houses of the fourth, eighth, and 12th house are all in water signs, are all water sign predominant. Even the 12th house is predominantly Scorpio. Even though his moon is in Sagittarius in the 12th house, which, by the way, really erratic type of things. By the way, Rupert Murdoch, just in case you were wondering, divorced his wife 3 years ago via email. Just to let you know what kind of piece of shit he is. He's not really willing to do the work, and so long as he's making money, what does anybody else care, right? Well, let's take a look at today's chart, which is sitting on the outside, and see how it affects him on the inside, right? So we pay attention to this fourth house, and of course, the rising as well as Neptune is sitting there in his fourth house. Well, what does Neptune represent? But the uncovering, the illusion, those things are coming undone for him. His essence, he's being exposed, everybody. Just to let you know, it's not a good feeling around the Rupert Murdoch house right now, no matter which wife he's on. Oh, by the way, the person that he left his longtime wife for, the one that he suddenly was engaged to, he actually dropped because she was too extreme, because she thought Tucker Carlson was a prophet from God. Just to let you know, behind the scenes at Fox News, it's an ongoing fucking dumpster fire. Just to let you know. Not the way most news organizations are run. Isn't that right, Walter Cronkite? It's the way it is, the way it was, and the way it ought to be. There's my impression for the show. So the Sun is sitting in the fifth house. Now look at all of this action here on the fifth house. He's got the Sun. He's also got Eris. So he's got some internal... By the way, we're all feeling this a little bit. In his case, it's in the fifth house here in Leo. The Leo predominant house. But he's in Aries. So he's got two fire signs really kind of doing one of these things with him, right? He's at this internal conflict of then, like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do it? Why am I going to do it? Well, you can run from the court system. You can even run from the public, but you can't run from the astrology, Rupert Murdoch. No. Oh, no. Because here comes Mercury and Uranus in conjunct, by the way, right before we go retrograde, but the universe did us a solid and got really close to Uranus here with Mercury. In conjunct, almost direct. Not quite. It's kind of like one of those rides at the amusement park. And by the way, I hope you guys appreciate where it comes up to you. And then it backs right back down. Welcome to the Sea Dragon, everybody. So Mercury conjunct with Uranus here is like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? How am I going to do it? How am I going to get away from this? Right? He's going to do the unthinkable a little bit here, and he's going to be creative about it. To him, his creativity cost him $787 million, 0.5, somewhere in there. Let's take a look at the sixth house in Venus, in Gemini, in his sixth house. He had everybody turning against him, everybody. Don't think that he didn't. By the way, I'm going to take a look at my notes here and just kind of confirm that not only, I just want to look up one of the angles here that I know that I wanted to make sure that I had here. So his Sun actually had trine energy to Mars. Now, what does that mean? It means that he was going to be all about the action. So Mars is sitting here in the 7th house with his friends, with his whatever. It could also mean his relationships are falling apart. He's trying to salvage a company now. He's trying to salvage. He had full knowledge that his broadcasters were lying. And he's going to try and save it. The moon is square. His natal moon is square with Neptune. Of course, that has its own challenges of worthiness, of feeling like he's caught. But Mars having that action against not only the Sun, but also Mercury, that is why he acted upon this, right? So you have Mars sitting here in the 7th house, and you have his Mercury here in the 4th house. He's definitely, and by the way, let's go ahead and take a look at this here. Mercury to his Mars, that's really what's going on. So the 5th house to the 8th house, the things that he created, the 5th and the 8th house is about creativity, children, the sex that you have to make them, blah, 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 blah. So his own creation was actually rebelling against him. He's trying to recreate himself, and whether it's going to work or not, who knows. But his timing of it, he decided to do this settlement so he can recreate something, right? By the way, Fox News is not out of the woods. They have some internal people actually suing them. Stockholders that are saying, what the hell did you do to this company? You know, this is just unprecedented. This is just reprehensible. He has that going on. He also has the other part of this where his newscasters are just like, we want to get the frick out of here. By the way, Tucker Carlson, you are completely unhireable by anybody else. You're going to have to do your own thing. Laura Ingraham at least has a half a conscience to it. And Sean Hannity is just, he's been a hack for a long time, and that's just the way it is. And then when you get into other people like Levin and Maria Bodaromo, they were all coattailing, and they had a diatribe kind of going. It's funny, one of the sane liberal, or I should say libertarian voices out there are like Dennis Prager, and I think he's going to really kind of he's going to benefit from this, believe it or not, because he's going to say, you got to have integrity. You can't not do this. You might not like their politics, but how Dennis Prager goes about things is actually intuitively the right foundation of things. Again, I don't agree with him wholeheartedly, but I can at least listen to his argument because he's not trying to incite hate. Rupert Murdoch has been trying to incite hate because it pays better, everybody. It pays better. Let's round out this chart and take a look at how the ascendings are kind of working. Now, Rupert Murdoch is a Capricorn rising, and he's got a Sagittarius moon sitting in there in proximity. Well, in his life, he is meant to learn a lot of things, self-realization. And by the way, I'm going to circle back around here to the Saturn aspect of it. Saturn is sitting here in the 3rd house. Anybody else want to take that? Okay, fine, I will. Saturn sitting in the 3rd house is about communication and how you project yourself to this. Saturn in Pisces is up is down and down is up. And by the way, he has had to do this differently by telling the truth. His Saturn, his reality coming into this before it went into Pisces was all about the lies. Saturn in Aquarius to him was how he could mislead the masses. Boy, reality hits hard. By the way, Saturn was in his 12th house when he was spewing all those lies. The 11th house into the 12th house. So he was ruling the masses, showing a foundation. He was riding high. Fox News was at its highest in terms of rating and revenue. Woohoo! And if you want to back it up even further, it was in the 10th house before then. Holy Toledo. By the way, the transit through each sign is about 3 years. So if you back this up, and he's in Pisces now, he was in Aquarius before, he was in Capricorn. So when Pisces, or when Saturn was in Capricorn, it was in the 10th to the 11th house. Guess what? Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Now he's getting exposed because Saturn is sitting in Pisces. Oh, would you look at that? In the 3rd house. Truth comes out, motherfucker. Sorry, boys. By the way, Capricorns, if you've been flying right, Capricorn rising, if you've been flying right, this is a great time for you because the truth is coming out. Oh. Guess what? Guess what, everybody? It's only going to get worse. Because the next step into this, as Pisces, or as Saturn moves into Pisces even further, it's He's going to move into his fourth house. His family's going to fall apart. By the way, his daughter, who is a certified genius, well educated, instead of having him choose her to run Fox, she said, we can't tell lies. And he said, guess what? You're out. Oh, you're highly successful, but you're like, I don't know, a woman? I'll pile on him. I don't give a shit. So she started her own company. Don't be surprised if Rupert Murdoch's daughter becomes more successful than he because she's honest. Liz Cheney, anybody? I don't know. Just thought I'd plant that seed. Generational cycles and ancestral healing is a real thing, and you're seeing it on a political grander stage here. I had to pull her chart and really take a look at it. But guys, that's basically, he avoided these bombshells because as Mercury was going to move into, and again, I still think we're going to hear a lot of stuff, a ton of stuff about what was going to be presented in this Dominion case. But now they can say, well, it's not official record. And that actually means something to them, which is irony because they're not an official record. They're actually full of shit. They're so full of shit. They knew before they hit live that they were telling lies. They knew it. They admitted to it via text. They're sending messages back and forth to each other. Fire the people that prove the facts. Ugh. Rupert Murdoch was their ringleader, everybody. So just to fast forward the chart, and I probably should have pulled this up, but I want you to visualize it, that the sun is actually going to become conjunct, and it's going to land in between Mercury and Uranus. I think Penny and I just calculated this to right in between there, like on, I think it's like the 5th of the month, May 5th, 5-5. Go ahead and change that up for you, everybody. Good news, Rupert Murdoch, you're not out of the woods yet. You might have settled and you might have capped your losses. However, because you're a business dude, right? You don't really care that you don't talk to your family anymore and that they've ostracized you. Oh, no. You're not running the ship where everybody freaking hates you because of your poor guidance and your poor direction in the pursuit of the dollar. However, the good news is it's not done yet. Your undoing is really coming. So by about May 5th, between the 3rd and I think the 7th, the sun will sit in between Mercury and Uranus in your 5th house. Guess what? People are going to be creative about how they ruin you. Because by then, you will actually be full trine to Mars, and that will be moved into your 8th house, and it will be about how other people's money is taken away from you. So look at all of your outrage about Bud Light. Look at all of your rage about transgender anything, about women's reproductive rights, about how you present the facts to skew a point of view. Quit calling yourself news. In the mid-90s, the WWF, the World Wrestling Federation, had to declare that they were entertainment because they did not want to be governed by a board that would hold them accountable to the standards of free and competitive sporting. It wasn't. It was script writing. And every chance I get, I'm going to pull out Macho Man Randy Savage and go, oh yeah! Step into it! Anyways. By calling it entertainment, it gave them the free rein to kind of do anything. By the way, mediums, psychics, blah, 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 we're all for entertainment purposes only because there is no governing board because they cannot verify it aside from the experience that the person has. Does that make us full of shit? No, it means we have to have the highest standard in order to deliver what we do. You have to have personal accountability and personal authenticity. I had an experience this past weekend where I sat with someone who was not authentic. They were not a very good medium. Matter of fact, they should not call themselves a medium. I paid my dollars, I sat down with them, they could not read me, they blamed me for the reading, and then I told them they were a fraud. $787.5 million was what Rupert Murdoch's price was. Mine was $50. Her price was $50. She couldn't hold a candle to what a true medium does. She didn't have the tools, she didn't have the resource, and maybe she's just young at it. But she's charging $50 for 10 minutes. It wasn't ego that was sitting there. What it was the ability to begin to police an industry that otherwise needs its freedom in order to work. Free press is really important in the United States. So much so that our founding fathers felt that it was really important that we were able to express things with the authenticity and the conduct of our merit being what it is. To stand on itself for its truism, its authenticity, and its believability. Rupert Murdoch lied to people on a regular basis. That medium that I called out didn't have the chops to call herself a medium, and she was parading around ruining an industry. The industry needs to look at Fox News not only to hold them accountable, but to hold themselves accountable. The price of free speech on that day was $787 million. But the price is every day is our own authenticity. When you see somebody in your industry that's full of shit, you need to call it out. Those of you that have been following my story closely know that I am in the process of calling out some very inefficient people in this work. People that decided that if they could smear me, then they would hide the fact that they're actually a fraud. I've been paying attention to the astrology, and now the astrology's right. Rupert Murdoch was a domino in this. Those of you that have been a fraud in your individual what have you, guess what? That click you hear is the next domino falling. It's time to be authentic and step up and step out, or you'll get knocked over too. All right, everybody, I'm going to give you the heart tap. Because we love freedom, we love free speech, we love the fact that I'm able to talk about this with my own accountability and my own authenticity. I did the work, I did the research, I invested my time, my effort, my money, and now I present to you Rupert Murdoch's save from being absolutely demised in the next 3 weeks. It'll still come in different forms, but here we are. I'm going to give the heart tap out to the First Amendment. It's a great concept, and at the end of the day, we really don't have any rights because everything has conditions, but the idea that we're able to speak our mind and live in our truth is a very important thing. There's one thing that we can stand up for on a regular basis. It's the idea that we can be true to ourselves. Everything else is just somebody selling you something, guys. Heart taps out for you to know the difference. I'll see you guys soon, and remember, keep going.